Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Chris, and today we are going to be working on the train station once more. Just the other day, we tried working on the roof here, and it ended up being an epic fail. And so today we are going to go in and we are going to hopefully fix that. And so if you guys didn't see that video, I highly recommend you check that out just to see my thought process on this whole model here. But to kind of build off of that, this tower here is going to be a clock tower. And so it is far too big. A lot of you guys said that in the comments as well, and I totally agree. So we're going to be reducing the footprint of these white bricks here, and we are also going to go in and switch up these plates in here to white because I had it on white on that side, and a lot of you guys said that that looked better. So we are going to be swapping that to white as well. We're going to be adding the tiles up top here to fix that up, and then hopefully this will look really good, but I guess we will see how that goes. So without me talking too much, I'm going to pull this off of the actual train station itself, and we are going to get started on fixing the roof up. All right, so I think the first thing that we're going to tackle is actually making that section smaller right there, just so it looks a lot better, because as it is right now, it does not look that great. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to reduce the footprint of this. I don't know to what dimensions exactly, because the problem with it, or at least part of the problem, is that it is an odd number wide and an even number deep. So that is kind of the problem here. So you can see I had to put 1x4s in the frame of it here just to make the design an even length across. And so I don't really know what to do about that, to be honest with you. So I might end up making this like 11 or 13 across, and then maybe like 12 or 14 deep. I think that might be the way to go. So I'm going to try that, and I'll show you guys how that ends up looking. All right, so I've made quite the mess here, and I'm trying to get a couple of different types of pieces, and I'm planning ahead for something later in the video, but you'll see that in just a second. But I think this looks a lot better, to be honest with you. I shortened it down, and so now it is 13 studs wide by 12 studs deep. And then these corners here are not filled in because I'm actually thinking of putting snot bricks in the corner here, because I actually got a comment or two on that previous video where we worked on the roof, and someone said that I should continue the same design that is on the train station here, where it's the white walls and then the gray pillars in the corner. And I thought that was a really good idea, but I didn't want to just put bricks. I thought maybe it would look a little bit better and a little bit cleaner if it was snot bricks like this, and then they would alternate every other one, but I haven't done that yet. And then I would put tiles on the outside. I think that would look pretty good. So that is kind of where I'm at with that at the moment, but I think this is looking a lot better. Like I said in that previous video, unfortunately, I am out of these rounded 1x1s, so I can't finish the entire design here, but I have at least an idea of what it's going to end up being. And also in that other video, I discussed putting 2x2 tiles in instead of the shields, because when you use the shields in a spot like this, they have the angle coming down on either side, and so you could see through. That created a gap with the wall. So figured the 2x2s just looked a little bit cleaner, and it's such a small thing that you won't notice that it's a different texture than the shields. So not worried about it at all. And then this right here, I might have to make a 1x1 tile, I think, just so the tiles that are going to be on the pillars, I think, are going to line up a little bit better. So that's why I didn't put a rounded 1x1 in there. So that's pretty much where I'm at with it. I think this is looking pretty good here. And then let me put this about where it's supposed to. And you can see that I think that tower, or at least like the footprint of it, is a lot more in scale with the whole building here. So I think going smaller was the right way to go. And I am much happier with that. So already we are off to a great start. I thought I'd add a little bit of texture with the rounded stud in there, but I don't know if I like that. So I'm probably going to take that out, and then we will keep going. But overall, I'm happy with this. I think this is turning out way better than the previous video. So huge thank you to you guys for all of your help. But now that this has been kind of solidified, we're going to go ahead and we are going to keep building it up, and then we can add the clocks in and take it from there. All right, so this is looking much better. I'm very happy with this now. I figured I would start with the side walls here and kind of just build those up, because that would be a lot more simple as opposed to trying to figure out the clock placement and all of that stuff on these two ends right here. So figured I would start with that. And I got a decent ways through it. I just need to find a couple more 1x1 bricks, but very, very happy with how that's looking. And I think the scale is working for me too. I think that looks pretty good. This wall here, I don't love just because it's a plain white wall, but there's not a lot I can do about that because I only have 2 clocks. The seller that I had bought these from only had 2, and so I just bought the both of them. Now, I could go and I could buy 2 more, or I could buy 4 new clocks, like different prints, because this one isn't the best. I don't really love the thing on the outside here. I was looking at the Big Ben clock, actually, the dish at least, not the whole set, but I think that could look pretty good, and then I would have 4 clocks, 1 on each side. I think that might look a little bit better, but then I'd have to also buy them, and they're about $1 each, maybe $1.50 each for those. So that'd be $6. So I don't know if I want to spend that on just this, but considering you do see it when you walk into the room here, that is probably something worth investing in, I think. So maybe that is something to consider. But now that this is pretty much how I want it, I'm going to fill in this side, finish filling in this side, and then I'm going to start worrying about the clocks here. But I also don't know how tall this is going to be, so that's why you'll notice that this side is just one of these snot bricks taller compared to the other 3. So I have to figure that out, but in the meantime, I'm going to finish up the walls and then start to worry about this clock here, because I have no idea how that's going to get placed in there quite yet, so that is something to figure out right now. All right, so while I haven't done much with the clock yet, at least on the roof itself here, I've done a little bit behind the scenes, just trying to figure out some techniques that I want to use. I went ahead and I actually finished the underside of the roof here, and I'll show you exactly what I mean. So first of all, I swapped out the plate here for white, and I was able to actually have enough white plate, surprisingly, because of the way that I'm building this now. It's a lot smaller, and I don't need to use a bunch of plate to get everything to the same height here, so I could save all that white plate and put it under here. So that looks a lot better now. And I also filled in the gap that was on the other side as well. And I had also gone ahead, let me see if I can do this with one hand here. I went ahead and I also put all of the light gray plate on the exterior of it as well, or like the border. So now when it's on the roof itself here, you can see that there's no gap at the top there, and I think that looks pretty good. Now, speaking of that area, you'll notice on the left side here, I added the 1x2 rounded plates underneath each of the patterns, or each like section, I guess. And so you can see that on the left and on the right. I chose to omit that for the time being because I wanted to get your guys' opinion on that. So let me know what you think down in the comments below. The left is with and the right is without. I like both of them, but when you take a step back, you really can't tell the difference. So I guess it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. But let me know what you guys think of that in the comments down below. I'd love to hear your guys' opinion on it. And here is a couple different angles for you, just so you can kind of get an opinion of it right there. So that's kind of what we're working with for the time being. But I think it looks pretty good. So I'm happy with it. And so now let me show you guys what I've been working on with the clock here. All right, so since these clocks are 6x6 dishes, my first thought was to use these 1x8 arches. I thought that might work out pretty good, but the arch is not the exact same dimensions as the clock there, the dish. So I had to come up with a couple different designs, and I spent a while trying to figure this out, but this ended up being one of the simplest and also, and also one of the most effective, I think. So this is kind of what we're working with right now. And so instead of using the arches, well, I'm using the arches as support here, but that's temporary. The clock is just on a 2x2 modified plate that has a Technic pin sticking out the top. And then I put quarter round tiles underneath it, so on the side with the studs here, and then the 1x2 tile kind of just helps lock that in place. Now that would obviously be black, so just ignore the orange stripes on it for the time being, but that just helps keep it so it doesn't spin. And then I put the white 2x2 dish on the front just to kind of disguise that pin, and then I could put the hour hand and minute hand on that. So I think that would be pretty cool. I know it's crooked, so just bear with me. I know this is 9 and I know that's 12. So this is just to get an idea as to what exactly this is going to look like. But I think this is pretty good. So I just need to find a few more of these 4x4 rounded tiles. I don't think I have any more, but I will have to see if I at least have one. If I have one, that's totally fine. I can make this side look good, and then the other side I can just order pieces for, so that's not the end of the world. But I want to at least be able to get the front, or I guess this one side done, and then we can kind of take it from there. But now I just need to figure out how I want to connect this to the build here. So I also have to figure out how high I want it as well. I don't know if I definitely don't want it low. I don't think that'd look right, but maybe like here-ish. So maybe I have like this on the bottom. This is kind of what I'm thinking here. And then maybe that would sit like that maybe. So I don't know. I have to figure that out. I have a lot of work to do. So let me go ahead and let me clean up some of this mess that was made from that. And then we can go ahead, we can start over and start working on the clocks. All right, so this is actually what I've come up with here. And this is almost exactly how I want it. So there's a couple of things wrong with it that I'm going to talk about in just a second here. But pretty much what this is, it is 11 studs wide, which is the gap right there. And then it is a plate, couple bricks, and then a layer of plate, and then this dark gray is a tile, and then I'm using brackets to kind of center the 1x6 section in the middle there, and then I just have the 1x6 section here, which is pretty much just a plate, a 1x4 snot brick because I didn't have any 1x2s, and then a 1x2 brick, and then to cover the snot brick a little bit better, I just put the olive green plant in. And then I'd probably also add a little bit more vine detail on it as well. And then this 1x10 plate is just here to see if I got it exactly centered. And as you can see, I am just barely off there. And while it would not be noticeable to most people, it is noticeable to me. And so especially knowing that it's there, I think that would drive me crazy if I had it just ever so slightly off. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to redesign this, but I think this is a good start. And so we will take it from there, and hopefully I can actually get this centered. All right, so I've been very busy here trying to figure this out, and you'll notice a lot of the other components that we just made are missing. I took out the walls and also the pillars here just so I can get a little bit more reach into here. And I also had to take out these gray pillars that I had in the front corners here because of the math that needed to work out here. As you can see right now, I tried a couple different techniques, and I even ended up rewatching Brick Sculpt's LDU video. I'll pin that in the top right if you guys haven't seen that before. Extremely interesting stuff, but if you guys have no idea what an LDU is, it's Lego Draw Units. And essentially, I'm going to let Brick Sculpt explain everything. If you want to learn more about it, check out his video. But basically what it is just increments. And so you can divide the width of one stud by 20. You can do 20 different increments in it. And so I was trying to figure that out in that picture that you just saw, and I could not get it to work because it ended up being an odd number of LDU. And the only way to fix that was with a neck bracket for minifigures, which I didn't have, and I especially don't have in white. So that was out of the question, but I went ahead and I went back to the drawing board here, and I actually managed to come up with this. And so I put this top section on jumpers here, so now it's 12 studs wide as opposed to the 11. And then I went ahead and I centered everything on it. And then the clock is now centered on that. Still haven't gotten that black 1x2 tile, but don't worry about that. That will get changed. And that is pretty much it. And so if you take a step back here, I think that looks really, really good. And I'm happy with that. And so now I just have to go in and I have to build this up and then get the curved tiles on that as well. I still haven't found a fourth one, but this video is actually not going to end up finishing this entire thing, obviously, because I don't have the pieces to finish the roof design itself. And I'm also clearly not going to have enough pieces to build up this tower here. But once this design is kind of finalized, I can go in and I can count every single piece that I'm missing. and then I can just make one order and call it a day, and then we can get one more video to finish off everything here. So that's going to be really, really cool, but let me go ahead and try and finish this up, and I will show you guys what I end up with. And for those of you wondering how I centered the clock on that, I put two 1x3 jumpers down and then a 2x2 jumper on top of that. And then I put a translucent 1x2 brick because for some reason they design it. The normal bricks, they have a beam in the middle or a tube down the middle, and that is for structure purposes. But for whatever reason, the translucent ones don't have that. So you can place this on a jumper and freely slide it around. And so as you can see here, I have it slid just to the right spot here, and I built up a couple bricks and then the snot bricks here, and then I just put an 8x8 plate like that, and then that is pretty much it. So it's the same thing as before with the two plates and then the Technic plate with, or the modified plate with the Technic pin sticking out the front, and then I'm going to go ahead and add this on the front and then add the clock hands onto that. And that's pretty much it. And so that is where it's at. I would like to add supports here or like connection points for the tiles, but I don't think that's possible. So that's kind of that. I want to replace this with a white tile, but I just have to see if I have one, a 1x3 tile in white. So I have to go ahead and also figure this out as well, because now that this is a half stud over, I don't know how this is going to work here. So I have to figure that out. And then I'm also going to have to do it for the back side as well. But I'm not worried about the back because as long as I get the front done, then I think I'll be good to go. And then I can either order pieces or just finish it. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. But let me go ahead and keep working on this, and I will show you guys once I have that top section done. All right, so in filming that last clip, actually, I realized that the clock wasn't centered. It was kind of off a little bit. And so I went ahead and I completely redesigned this section on the inside here. And it looks kind of complicated, but I promise you it's not that bad. So pretty much what it is just 3 different sections of jumper with the translucent brick on the top. And basically what that does is that gives me 3-dimensional movement along the axes here, so I can, this bottom one means I can move the whole thing this way. This brick right here means I can move this upwards that way. And then this one right here that connects to the plate means I can move it up and down. So that gives me the perfect amount of movement here. And so I can go ahead and I can make this look perfect. So that's pretty good. I still need to go in and fix up this top section here, but I'm going to do that really quick and also put this wall back, and then we can take it from there. All right, so I've been pretty busy here, and I'm actually really, really happy with how this is shaping up here. I managed to get rid of that light gray tile down there, so that's all good now. The only thing is that this snot brick is still light gray. I can't find one in white for some reason. I know I have them, I just can't seem to find them. So unfortunately, that's going to stay gray for the time being, but I will be placing an order soon, I think. So that is on the list of things to order, as well as these quarter round tiles in the 4x4 size. But I'm really happy with this. I think this is looking good. And I managed to find a way to connect the 1x8 tiles on the sides. And pretty much what I did here is I used the 2-plate tall 1x1 snot piece. And so it's rounded on the back, and it has the stud on the right here. And I just attached that, and then I placed plates behind it so I can actually put a tile on top as well. And then if you put that tile back, that's pretty much it. And that I did the same on the other side. And then this whole thing is looking really good. And I have this pillar here to kind of just mark where the snot bricks are in terms of height. And so I have to change out this plate to tile here. And then I can have the size go back to the 11 studs here. So it's 11 down here, and then it widens to 12. And then I'm going to shorten it back to 11. And then I can put the snot bricks back on the sides, and then I can have the tiles continue up. So I think that's going to look really, really good. So let me go ahead and continue working on this. I'm really happy with how this is shaping up. Now, obviously, like I said earlier, I'm not going to have enough pieces to do the entire thing, but these pieces down here are kind of just stuff that I've been tinkering with. And so let me go ahead and continue working on this, and I will show you guys the progress that I make. All right, so I made one heck of a mess on the table here, but I'm really, really happy with this. So I'm going to pan over to it right now. And I think this looks really, really good. So I'm going to kind of give you guys a little bit of an eye level shot here. And so you can see the clock on the front of it here. And then you can also see this side as well is all done. And the far side is done as well, which is really nice to see. I'm really happy with this. I temporarily placed those couple pieces on there for the time. I think the clock hands look okay. I will probably end up redoing it because when you come over to here, it doesn't look that great, but I'm really happy with that. I think that looks really, really good. And I do still need to fix that. I've replaced that one light gray snot brick. I can't find one in white for some reason, so I'm gonna have to order that and also all of the other pieces on here. I wanted to figure out the roof because I still don't know if I should tile this or if I should just put the roof directly on this. Haven't fully decided yet. I probably should do the tiles, but I don't know. I'm not entirely sure how I should go about that. Like if I should just put the tiles on top or if I should remove this layer of plate and then put jumpers on that and then maybe put tiles around that. Haven't fully decided yet. So I have to kind of go in and figure that out. So I think I'm going to do that now. But I'm really happy with how this is looking. I think this looks great. Now, the back does not look so good. So let me give you guys a shot of that. So not the best, but it is going to be completed soon because once I figure out all of the front, then I can just, whatever pieces I don't have, I can just order. And then I can just build the back and then that would be that. And then the entire train station would be done. That's a crazy thing to say. So I'm really happy with how this is looking. I think this looks pretty good. The tower's a little tall, but I think it looks fine. I think it looks pretty good. And so let me go ahead and figure out the top section here, and then we can see how everything looks. All right, so I went ahead and I have a tentative design for the top here, which is pretty much just a few jumpers. And then they're placed halfway through the brick, so there's just a little bit of overhang, like you can see right now. And then I placed the tiles on top to give another bit of depth to it. And I think that works. And then this actually is now, so you can see, it is a 2x4, 3 2x2s, a 1x3, and a 2x4. So that is 4, 6, 8, 10, 11, 15 studs long. And then I can actually make the width of the roof 16 studs wide, and I will show you guys that right now. And so this is the very basic design of roof. Obviously it's the same as this, but the section here, I have a little bit of work to do on it because as you can see it's flush with the tiles right now. But if I were to make it one increment higher and I add another layer of 4x plate on the top here, then that would come down to pretty much out to here. And I think that's a little too much overhang, so I have to figure that out. But I think I'm going to wrap up today's video here. We got a lot done today, and I am much, much happier with this than I was at the end of the previous video. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked the video, make sure to like the video and subscribe, as well as click the bell notification so you don't miss any future uploads, like finishing the roof and also of all of the other details on the train station. I did go ahead and try to see how the white picket fence looked because we talked about that last time. And I think that actually looks really good. So I think I'm going to keep it. And I think we are going to do the same on the back platform as well as this corner right here. I don't know what to do about this side here. Someone did suggest adding a 3-sided shelter. So it's not like a full building. It's just like a little thing on the side here so people have some coverage. But I don't know what's going here. And I don't know what's going here. So until I figure out this section, I can't figure out this section, which means I can't figure out this. So we're going to leave that for the time being. But if you guys have any feedback for me on the train station and any of the other details over here and also down here, make sure to drop a comment down below to let me know what you think. But seriously, once again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye for now.